I thought it was possible for me to be enough, but I am not. I used to think that God could make me enough. I honestly used to think that. I used to pray towards it. God, how can I be enough for this person? They're not getting it. But if God answered that prayer and if God made me enough, would that person need God? If I was the enough? Would that person need other people around them if I was the enough? Every parent can think that. Every parent goes through that. I'm not enough for this kid. Why did God give me this kid? I'm not enough for this kid. Well, let me give you some peace today, parents. You don't have to be enough. Lead that child to know God. Lead that child to know Jesus is enough. And that's where a parent, as your best is being able to lead people to know Jesus. Lead that child to be in community where they get to be connected with others that can be helpful towards being more of enough where you're not. I will fail and disappoint people. I will make mistakes. I'll fall short. And I'll always have weaknesses that I struggle with. I don't have all the answers. But I do have a relationship with Jesus that I can help others have as well. And I can choose communities that I live in and operate in that I know have grace for me. I have grace for them, they have grace for me. You know, already by this time of year, it's only February hasn't finished yet. All those great New Year's resolutions that were created in January 1, 92% of them have already fallen by the way, apparently. But let me have a conversation here, just briefly. We are coming to an end here. Nobody, successful and non-successful, when thinking about the kind of relationships that they wanted to have in 2022, everybody had the intention of relationships. I'm going to have good relationships this year. Nobody said, I'm going to see how many people I can offend this year. Nobody's New Year's resolution was, I'm going to see how many I can ostracize away from myself. Everybody has the same goals for their life. You don't get all the teams have the same coaches that get them at the beginning of the season. No coach goes up to the team and says, well, this year we're going to go for the wooden spoon. Nobody does. We all have the same goals. The difference is between those who are successful and non-successful and not having the goals in the first place are what they do about creating them and moving towards that. I'm going to have good relationships. What am I going to do? What's my next step going to be in building that? That's where the difference is, and taking those steps towards it. How is the answer we need to have. Not the what, it's the how. If I want to lose weight and yet all of my community around me are of the same persuasion that I have been of indulging with ever food and no one exercises, if my community, I'm not going to lose weight. If I want to be better in my time management, but everybody in my community is just constantly playing video games and wasting their time in that way, I'm not going to become a time saver, better time manager. I need to choose those that are going to be in my community around me wisely. If I want to be a person that knows how to have good marriage, good family life, whatever, any kind of relationships, I need to have those around me who can encourage that. Not whisper and whinge about relationships to me or tell me how to cut them off. Those that know how to make them strong. If you've made choices to sow seeds because you've are particular about what you want to reap, you won't reap that harvest immediately. It takes time. And the sad thing is none of us know exactly how much time. We don't know when the harvest is going to come in. But we must be consistent in our choices, in sowing. Consistent. Choosing to do it just once, one day, won't ever do it for us. The weeds will come and ruin the crop before the harvest can come. Those who are consistent, though, will reap a harvest. And all of a sudden somebody will say things like, oh, they're always so lucky. Everything always works out for them. But I tell you, hang on to this illustration. It's like you take a saucepan of water from the tap, you put it on the stove and you turn it on. You can watch that water and you see nothing. You see nothing. You see nothing. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden there's that suddenly, just like those lucky people that suddenly everything works for them. The water starts boiling and people can see the evidence of the tipping point. But it's because it was consistently there in the first place. It's the consistent that brings the suddenlies. So you're wanting to reap a harvest of whatever it is in relationships, you've got to consistently put in, even if you're not seeing what you need to see come back out. Put it, all of a sudden the suddenlies will occur in your relationships because you were consistent.